Good morning all of you. This is 11th class biology, lecture 3 of chapter 3, plant kingdom. And the topics to be discussed today are bryophytes, and in bryophytes we will discuss about the liverworts and mosses. These are two types of the bryophytes. After that we will discuss about the importance of bryophytes also. So let's start with the bryophytes general characteristics. So these are the general characteristics of the bryophytes. First, that bryophytes are called amphibians of the plant kingdom. As you know, what are amphibians? The animals which can live on land as well as in water, right? So these bryophytes are also called the amphibians of plant kingdom. Why? Because they can live in soil, okay, means on land, but they need water for sexual reproduction. So for their sexual reproduction, for the transfer of the gametes, you know, in the sexual reproduction there is fusion of gametes, okay, and for that fusion of gametes, those gametes must meet, okay. So there is a need of water for the transfer of gametes use the water as a travel medium, okay. So you can say for the sexual reproduction water is required here. Okay, so water is required by the bryophytes to complete their life cycle. Okay, because due to sexual reproduction, their life cycle will be completed. So for completing their life cycle, these plants require water, and these can live on soil as well. That's why these are called amphibians of plant kingdom. Now, these bryophytes occur in damp, humid, and shaded localities. Body of bryophytes is more differentiated than that of algae. As you have studied about algae in previous lecture, okay, algae was the first division under the plantae kingdom, and you have studied about that, and you know the body of algae is not differentiated. Differentiated means the separate parts have not been formed. Okay, differentiation means formation of different parts. So the body of algae is not differentiated, that is a thallus-like body. But here in the bryophytes, differentiation starts. Okay, separate parts formation starts here. So we can say that body of the bryophytes, because it is the division after the algae. Okay, it is the second division under the plantae kingdom. So here differentiation start. So it is more differentiated than algae. It is thallus-like. Okay, it is thallus-like like that of algae, but a little bit differentiation starts here. And prostrate. Prostrate means growing along the ground. Okay, the body that grows along the ground horizontally, that is called prostrate growth. Okay, so body is prostrate here in case of bryophytes, because bryophytes generally grow along the ground, means horizontally along the ground, or erect. So body can be erect also, upright, it can be upright on the ground, and attached to the substratum, either it is prostrate or erect. The body of the bryophytes will be attached to the substratum. Okay, in both the cases, either it is prostrate or the erect, it will be attached to the substratum by the unicellular or multicellular rhizoids. So rhizoids are, you can say, a somewhat root-like structure here. Okay, so with the help of those rhizoids, the body of the bryophytes, or you can say the thallus of the bryophytes, is attached to the substratum. Substratum means anything on which the bryophytes are present. It can be a wood log, it can be soil surface or any other ground. Okay, so on any substratum it is attached with the help of rhizoids, and these rhizoids can be multicellular or unicellular. Now they lack true roots, stems or leaves. Okay, here the differentiation is only starting stage of differentiation is here in the bryophytes. So we can't say that a true root, stems and leaves are present here. These rhizoid structure which are present here are not true roots. So we can say in bryophytes, true roots, stems or leaves, these structures are absent, but they may possess root-like, leaf-like or stem-like structure. Okay, as we have, as I told you that the differentiation start here. So here what will be present? Root-like, leaf-like and stem-like structures will be present, but those are not true stem and leaves. the main plant body is haploid. Okay, here main plant body is haploid. I hope you know the meaning of haploid and diploid. Still I am telling you, the haploid means the body which have the half of the chromosome numbers. Okay, means one set of chromosome is present here. As you know, let's take an example of the human being. We are diploid because we have two sets of chromosomes, right? We have a pair of the chromosomes is present. Okay, like 23 pairs of chromosomes are present inside our body. That's why we say we are diploid. Haploid means one set of chromosome is present here. Okay, so body of the plant is haploid. It produces gametes, hence it is called a gametophyte. So the haploid body of the bryophytes produce gametes, hence it is called a gametophyte. The body that produce the gametes is called gametophyte. Simple name. The gamete producing plant body is called gametophyte. Now see here, this is one example of the bryophyte. Okay, this is the diagram of bryophyte, and here this is the gametophyte structure where the gametes will be produced, right? Now the gametes will be produced in gametophyte. Okay, and the sex organs will be required for the production of the gametes. So the sex organs in bryophytes are multicellular. The male sex organ is called antheridium, and that produce biflagellate antherozoids. Okay, so the male sex organ, that is called antheridium, and that produces biflagellate antherozoids. You can say antherozoids are the male gametes in bryophytes. So what is the name of male gametes in bryophytes? That is antherozoids. And the female sex organ is called archegonium. It is flask shaped and produces a single egg. Okay, so female gamete is egg, and the structure in which this female gamete is produced is called archegonium. Okay, so you see here, this is the gametophyte structure of the bryophyte, and here this is archegoniophore. Okay, archegoniophore is this stalk-like structure on the tip of which the structure archegonium is present. Okay, in which egg is produced, and this is the male bryophyte. Here the anthridiophore, this stalk-like structure is called anthridiophore, on the tip of which this antheridium will be present, and inside the antheridium the male gametes antherozoids will be formed here. Okay, so antheridium will produce the antherozoids, and inside the archegonium egg will be produced. Those are male gamete and female gamete. Now these male and female gametes will fuse together and will form a zygote. But this zygote do not undergo meiosis immediately. Okay, as you know, the diploid zygote has been formed here by the fusion, because both the gametes will be haploid. When the haploid gametes will fuse, the diploid zygote will be formed. Okay, now this diploid zygote will need to undergo meiosis division to form a haploid body of the bryophytes again. Okay, because I told you that the body of the bryophytes is haploid. Plant body of the bryophytes is haploid. So to make that haploid body, there is need of meiosis division in this zygote here. But this zygote do not undergo meiosis division immediately. Then what happen? They produce a multicellular body, and that multicellular body is called sporophyte. Okay, so the sporophyte stage is also present here in the bryophytes. And what is this sporophyte? Sporophyte is not free living. Okay, this is not a separate plant body, means it doesn't get separate from the gametophyte. It is not free living but attached to the photosynthetic gametophyte. Okay, the gametophyte structure that you have seen in the diagram in the previous slide. Okay, so that is a photosynthetic gametophyte part of the bryophyte. So this sporophyte remain attached with that and derives nourishment from it. Okay, so the photosynthesis is performed by the gametophyte, and the nourishment is given to the sporophyte as well. Some cells of the sporophyte undergo meiosis to produce the haploid spores. Now you know this sporophyte has been formed from zygote, right? So now inside this sporophyte meiosis division occurs, and due to that meiosis division haploid structures will be formed, and these haploid structures are called spores. Okay, now these spores will shed off. Okay, these will fall on the ground and will germinate to form a new gametophyte, right? Now see this diagram and try to understand that how the sporophyte remain attached with the gametophyte. So this is gametophyte part here up to here. This is gametophyte part. Here you can see these are rhizoids. Rhizoids means the structures with the help of which it is attached with the substratum. Okay, this is called main axis, and these are leaves like structure. Okay, so this complete part is gametophyte. So you can say the gametophyte is differentiated here into three parts: rhizoids, main axis, and the leaves. Okay, these are leaf like structure, that's why we are calling these leaves. Okay, after that this gametophyte, inside the gametophyte male and female sex organs are present, right? Those will produce the gametes. Now there will be fusion of gametes inside the archegonium, and the zygote will be produced. That zygote will form a multicellular body that is called sporophyte. Okay, this is a complete life cycle. This diagram can show the complete life cycle of the bryophyte. Okay, so this the zygote produce a multicellular body, and that multicellular body is called sporophyte. So here you can see this is sporophyte. The structure from here to here, this complete structure is sporophyte, and you can see this structure is attached with the gametophyte part. Okay, as I told you that sporophyte remain attached with the gametophyte. So this gametophyte is photosynthetic part here, and sporophyte is attached with it. Now you can see the sporophyte is also differentiated in the part that is seta and capsule, and foot part also, which is present here, which is not shown here, which is attached with which it is attached with the gametophyte part. So sporophyte is differentiated into three parts. Those are foot, seta, this coiled portion, this complete stalk like portion, this is seta, and this part, this capsule like structure is called capsule. So foot, seta and capsule, those are parts of sporophyte. Now what happened? What is this? This is a diploid structure. This sporophyte is a diploid structure which has been formed from the zygote, and this is also multicellular structure. Okay, now the capsule part of this sporophyte, this capsule part undergoes the meiosis division. Cells inside the capsule part undergoes meiosis division and produce the haploid spores, because meiosis is the reductional division. Okay, and from the diploid cells haploid structures are formed by the meiosis division. So here these cells will undergo the meiosis division and produce the haploid spores, and those haploid spores when comes out will germinate to form a new bryophyte, right? After that, what is importance of the bryophytes? So some mosses provide food. Mosses means one of the class of the bryophytes. Okay, so bryophytes provide food for herbaceous mammals and birds also. So for the herbaceous mammals, means for many of the animals and the birds, these bryophytes are a source of food. Then species of sphagnum, that is also a example of bryophyte. Okay, species of sphagnum, and this is a moss, means a type of the bryophyte. This sphagnum provides peat. Okay, peat is used as fuel. Peat is a fuel. So peat is used as fuel. It has water holding capacity also. So so that used as packing material for transshipment of the living material. Okay, while transshipment of the living material, there is requirement of a packing material which can hold the water. So here that peat is used as the packing material because it has water holding capacity, and because of this water holding capacity, living material can be packed inside it and it can be used for the transshipment. So these are two important uses of the peat. It can be used as fuel as well as a packing material for the transshipment of living material due to its water holding capacity. You can see here, this is sphagnum, this is a moss, which is a moss, or you can a type of bryophyte you can say. Okay, and this is the sphagnum peat, the peat which has been formed from the sphagnum. Okay, this peat is used as a packing material as well as a fuel. Now, other importance of the bryophytes are, they are ecologically important because of their role in plant succession on bare rocks or soil. Okay, what is meaning of plant succession here? In detail you will study in 12th class that what is succession. Okay, I am telling you in short that if there is any bare rock or any bare area means when any life is not present on that area. Okay, if no life is present in any area, that area will be called bare. Or the rock, if we are talking about the rock, that will be called a bare rock. Okay, so when the life starts there, so these bryophytes acts as the first species to invade that area. Okay, so we can say these help in the succession of the life, in the plant succession. After when the bryophytes are formed and the rhizoids get attached to the rock surface, okay, those rhizoids will help in the corrosion of the you can say of the rock surface, and will help in the formation of soil. When the soil will be formed, there will be chances of the formation of new plant species there, right? So that is called succession, that is called plant succession. So this is how the life, different types of plants and the life appear on any bare area. So we can say, in short, we can say that these bryophytes are very important for the succession process because they invade the bare area, then help in the formation of soil. You can note down this thing, that they invade the bare area, then help in the formation of soil, due to which any other plant species can invade the area. So this is called succession, in which bryophytes help. Then mosses along with lichens decompose rocks, making the substrate suitable for the growth of higher plants. How these are making the substrate suitable? Because of the formation of soil, because these are helping in making the soil, and if the soil will be there, then obviously that will capture the moisture. Okay, so we can say the conditions will get suitable for the plant growth. Okay, the moisture will be there and the soil will be there because of the bryophytes. And these how these bryophytes are doing that? These bryophytes means the mosses, a type of bryophyte. These mosses are doing it along with the lichens. You know about the lichens, association of fungi and algae. Okay, so the lichens and the mosses, both these help in the succession. After that, next importance of the bryophytes is, since mosses form dense mats on the soil, they can prevent soil erosion. Okay, the most bryophytes are present as a mat-like structure on the soil. They form a dense mat on the soil, and that's why they will hold the soil. Their rhizoid structure will hold the soil, and it will prevent the soil erosion. Now, types of bryophytes. So there are two types of bryophytes found: liverworts and mosses. So let's start with the liverworts first. Liverworts are a type of bryophyte, and they grow usually in moist, shady habitats such as banks of streams. and also in marshy ground. Marshy ground means you can say daldali area, and in damp soil, and on the bark of trees, and also deep in the woods. So you can see these all are the habitat for the liverworts. Their plant body is thalloid. Thalloid means like the algae, which is not completely differentiated. For example, Marchantia. So Marchantia is one example of the liverworts, and this is the same bryophyte that you have seen in that diagram, okay, on which I show you the male and female sex organs. So that is Marchantia, one of the liverwort. Now thallus is dorsiventral and closely appressed to the substratum, you can see. So thallus is dorsiventral in position, you can say, and also it is closely appressed. As I told you that prostrate growth is seen in the bryophytes, so here it is closely appressed to the substratum, means it grow along the ground. Okay, so liverworts usually grow along the ground. These are horizontal on the ground or on any substratum on which these are growing. The leafy members have tiny leaf-like appendages in 2 rows on the stem-like structure. So stem-like structure and leaf-like structures are present here, and the leafy members have tiny leaf-like appendages. So on the stem-like structure, leaves are present in 2 rows. These leaf-like structure forms 2 rows on the stem-like structure. Let's talk about the type of reproduction in liverworts. So asexual and sexual, both type of reproduction can occur here. In asexual reproduction of the liverworts, it occurs by fragmentation of thalli. Okay, thalli means the complete body of the bryophyte. So here the fragmentation can occur. Fragmentation means the fragments will get separate, which will give rise to a new bryophyte. Or it can be by the formation of gamma. Gamma in singular or in plural form, you can say gamete. Okay, so here by gamma formation or by fragmentation, the asexual reproduction can occur. Now what are these gamma? Gamma are green, multicellular, means green in color, and these are made up of more than one cell, and these are asexual buds because these are helping in asexual reproduction, so we are calling these asexual buds that develop in small receptacles. Okay, and these receptacles are called gamma cups. So these are cup-like structure, and these are called gamma cups, which are present on the thalli, means the body of the bryophytes. The gamete are detached from the parent body. Okay, these gamma cups will get detached from the thalli and germinate to form a new individual. Right, so this is how the asexual reproduction occur in the bryophytes. In which bryophytes? Liverworts. So here what is happening? Gamma cups are formed on the thallus. These gamma cups then get detached from the thallus and will germinate to form a new liverwort. Now here you can see this is the complete thallus, thallus of the liverwort. Okay, this complete structure is called thallus, and here these structures, these cup-like structure are gamma cup. Okay, and inside the gamma cup, these structure, this spore-like structure, you can see these are called gamete. Okay, these gamma cup get detached from the thallus, and then gamete will germinate to form a new bryophyte, new liverwort. Then sexual reproduction of the liverworts. Here male and female sex organs are produced on the same or different thalli. Okay, so both the cases can be seen. Either both the sex organs, means male and female sex organ, both are present on the same bryophyte, or these can be present on the different thalli, means on the different liverwort. Okay, now you know about that how the male and female sex organs produce the gametes, and then those will fuse and will form the zygote. All that I have told you earlier in the general features of the bryophytes, right? So here now come to the sporophyte, means after the zygote formation that forms the sporophyte. So that sporophyte is differentiated into foot, seta and capsule. Here what happened, the sporophyte is differentiated into the 3 parts, okay, that I have shown you. After meiosis, spores are produced within capsule, right? That also I have told you, that inside the capsule of the sporophyte, spores are formed, right? These spores germinate to form free living gametophytes. When these spores comes out of the capsule, these germinate and will form a new gametophyte of the liverwort. Now next type of the bryophytes is mosses, and in mosses the predominant stage of the life cycle of moss is gametophyte. So here also, like the liverwort, predominant stage, the stage that dominate, okay, predominant stage means the stage that dominate over the other. So predominant stage is gametophyte in liverworts as well as in mosses. In both the bryophytes, predominant stage is gametophyte. So you can say in bryophytes, dominant stage is gametophyte, because that is present for the longer time, and also that is photosynthetic part, okay. So it consists of 2 stages. In mosses there are 2 stages of the life cycle. You can see life cycle of the mosses has 2 stages. First is protonema stage and second is leafy stage. The gametophyte of the mosses is formed in 2 stages, in protonema stage and leafy stage. So let's talk about these. What are these stages? First, protonema stage. It develops directly from a spore, okay. Spore, from where this spore is coming? From the sporophyte. Inside the sporophyte capsule, you know, meiosis division results into formation of spore. So that protonema stage develops from the spore. It is a creeping, green, branched and frequently filamentous stage, okay. So these are the characteristics of the protonema stage of the gametophyte. It is creeping, means creep along the ground, green in color, branched, many branches are formed, and frequently filamentous, okay. Filament like structure is formed here. Then after this protonema stage, leafy stage is formed, and this leafy stage, it develops from the secondary protonema, okay. When this protonema stage converts into secondary protonema stage, then it gives rise to the leafy stage. So it develops from the secondary protonema as a lateral bud, okay. Bud is a structure which gives rise to a new structure here. So these this leafy stage arise from the protonema as a lateral bud. They consist of upright, slender axis bearing spirally arranged leaves, okay. Leafy stage, as the name indicating, so spirally arranged leaves are present here, okay, and these leaves are present on as upright position. Here protonema stage is the creeping stage, but this leafy stage is upright. It is upright on the axis. They are attached to the soil through the multicellular and branched rhizoids. So soil is as a substratum here, okay, and you know bryophytes get attached with the substratum with the help of rhizoids. So this leafy stage is attached with the substratum with the help of rhizoids, and these rhizoids are multicellular here, okay. Just note down this point also. The rhizoids in case of liverworts are unicellular, but in mosses, rhizoids are multicellular. So this is a difference between the liverworts and mosses, okay. Now this stage bears the sex organs. This stage means the leafy stage. Leafy stage bears the sex organ. And what are the sex organ? Antheridium and archegonium, right? Now sexual reproduction of the mosses. The antheridia and archegonium are, in plural form you can say antheridia and archegonia, okay. So antheridia and archegonia are produced at the apex of leafy shoot, right. After fertilization, zygote is formed, and that zygote develops to form a sporophyte having the foot, seta and capsule, okay. Same thing is is here also, that sporophyte is formed, that is differentiated in these three parts. Then the sporophyte in mosses is more elaborate than liverworts. So this is one more difference. Here sporophyte is more elaborate. Okay, the capsule contains spores and the spores are formed after the meiosis. Mosses have an elaborate mechanism of spore dispersal. How the spores get dispersed, okay, to get germinate to form a new moss. So that dispersal process is an elaborate process in case of mosses. Based on today's topics, your homework is NCERT question number 8 and part 1, 2 and 3 of question number 8. Okay, leave the parts 4, 5 and 6 for now. Only do the 1, 2 and 3 parts, and also second part of question number 9. After that, let's discuss the homework solution of previous lecture. And I gave question number 1 of NCERT. The question is, what is the basis of classification of algae? And the answer is presence of pigments. Okay, the pigments which are responsible for the color. Okay, the pigments which imparts traditional color on the algae is the main basis for the classification of algae, right? But there are other basis also for the classification algae. So now algae are classified on the different criteria such as flagellation, storage products, cellular organization and constitution of cell wall, as you have seen in the comparison table of the algae. Okay, there are different basis for the classification of algae. So all these are the basis for the classification of algae. Those are presence of pigments, flagellation, storage products, that is food storage product, okay, cellular organization and constitution of cell wall. Let's see how the algae are differentiated on the basis of pigments. So these are name of algae: Chlorophyceae. In Chlorophyceae, chlorophyll A and B are present, and that impart the color green. Then in Phaeophyceae, chlorophyll A, C and fucoxanthin are present, and that imparts color brown. Then in Rhodophyceae, chlorophyll A, chlorophyll D and phycoerythrin are present, and it imparts color red. Then there is NCERT question number 5, and I gave first part of the question number 5, that is asking what is the importance of algae. So these are the importances of algae. First, algae fixes carbon dioxide with the help of photosynthesis. Okay, so you can say fixation of carbon dioxide is an importance of algae. Second thing, it increases the level of dissolved oxygen in their immediate environment, because algae perform photosynthesis, and photosynthesis is required to increase the oxygen level. So inside the water bodies, this algae increase the dissolved oxygen level. Okay, next thing, they produce rich compounds that serve as food for the aquatic animals. So algae are the primary producers in the water bodies, and they also produce some rich compounds which act as food for other aquatic animals. Then marine algae means which are found in sea and oceans, are used as food. For example, Laminaria and Sargassum. So these are the algae which are edible algae, which can be eaten. Okay, certain algae are used as hydrocolloids. Hydrocolloids means water holding substance. Okay, and water holding substances are used for the packaging, used as a packaging material. So certain algae are used as hydrocolloids, means as the water holding substances. Agar is used in growing. Agar is a nutrient medium for the microorganisms. So it is used for growing the microorganisms and in preparation of jellies also, jellies and also ice creams. Okay, agar is used, and this agar we obtain from the algae. Now chlorella, that is also a algae, is used as food by the space travelers. I told you in the previous lecture that chlorella, that is a algae, that is a protein rich algae. Okay, and it is used as a protein supplement, or you can say as a food by the space travelers. because space travelers cannot carry much food with them. Okay, so they carry these type of food which act as the supplements and can which are needed for their body functions. After that, difference between red and brown algae. Okay, this was the next question, that is question number 9, first part of NCERT. Right, difference between the red and brown algae. So first difference is, in red algae chlorophyll A and chlorophyll D are present, whereas in brown algae chlorophyll A and C are present. Right. Second thing, in red algae phycobilins are present, while in brown algae phycobilins are absent. Third difference is, red algae have reserved food material in the form of Floridian starch, whereas in brown algae it is in the form of laminarin. Fourth difference is, red algae are non-flagellated and brown algae are flagellated. Red algae are non-flagellated means their spores are non-flagellated, because you know the non-motile gametes and non-motile spores are present here. Okay, so those non-motile gametes are non-flagellated, right? And the brown algae are flagellated because here the motile gametes are present.